Hello everyone, welcome to our live webinar. And today we have with us Jayant Mundhra, who is a content creator and write about sectors like commodities, energy, infra, and logistics. Welcome to our live session. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much. How are you?
Great. So before we move towards your journey and talk about a lot about content creation, let's talk about something what you are currently doing.
All right. I basically served my last job well on 28th of this February. I ended my tenure there, and I'm now a free bird. I'm building something in stealth along with a few people. And apart from that, I'm a full-time content creator right now. I'm building out my LinkedIn personal brand in the niche of and business analysis. And so basically, I'll basically take up any company and take a vertical out of it and analyze the very finite numbers that are available out there to see what are the red flags, what are the positive things, what are the bad things, etc. And that is a particular niche in which I'm building a personal brand for myself. And that is what I'm up to right now. And so that's me in the day. In the night, I'm an entrepreneur in making. I am building something. And in the coming few months, that will be out. Yeah.
So to become a content creator, what are the technical skills required?
There are no technical skills. Those are the skills which you have in your head.
Yes.
That there has to be sheer consistency. That no matter what comes, you will be producing very good quality content, no matter what. It has to be good quality in your own assessment,
Right.
not in terms of basically what kind of engagement it is getting out there. But you have to know that in your terms, it is something good that you're putting out there, and you have to do it again and again on a consistent fashion. That's the only recipe.
So what is your major challenge you're facing right now?
So my major challenge is basically, I basically started off with a challenge that, okay, I'm going to post one thing a day. And it has to be a long deep dive post on one particular area. So for instance, I would take up a company called Zomato. I would do a complete analysis on it in terms of numbers, in terms of what's being said by the management in the public, etc., to analyze whether the company is overvalued or not, if it's the future prospects are making sense or not. And then basically I would write around, structure it all out in a piece of content and basically put it out there on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And this entire thing, doing it for every single day for a new company, every single day, it's basically day 95 now. So the problem is you begin to run out of companies. So you begin to basically hunt for much more smaller names about what can be done. And it keeps on getting tougher and tougher every day. So that is my biggest challenge right now. Probably it would have been easier if, like some other content creators, I would have gone for a journey where I would be, say, putting one piece of good content a week, or one piece of content in alternate days. I went for one a day, and that's the toughest part. But I think it also pays off because, so it's day 95 right now, and I have grown my LinkedIn to over 17,100 something followers. When I started off, my first 1,000 followers took almost 17 days.
Okay.
And next 1,000 came in around 10 days. And similarly, basically, after 40 days or so, I was at around 3,000 followers. And when I basically ended February, it was at 11,000. And it's almost like 22, 23 days into March. And from 11,000, it's 17,000. So it's only because there is consistency, plus the frequency of this entire thing is every day. So it compounds very, very fast. So that's the journey I'm on.
So how did you started in content creation?
My content creation journey started way back in college itself. So when I was in college, you can say around 2015 or so, there was a platform called Quora. It's still out there.
Yes, yeah.
And basically, I started out on Quora answering questions like, okay, why you should join Triple IT Gwalior and not Triple IT Allahabad?
Okay.
So those were the kind of questions where basically you would put out. I was basically studying at Triple IT Gwalior. So I would put out content like, okay, Triple IT Gwalior has great gymnasium, great infra, and there is a lot of greenery out there, and the city is very nice, and the tech is very good, the access is good, etc., and all that. It started off that way. Soon enough, I was basically writing about my own life, my experiences. I began to write about my experiences with my parents, etc., because I lost my father back in 2014. So I thought that this is a good medium to reach out to people who have also lost their parents and are finding it tough. And my experiences might basically help them out. So that is how basically it got started. Gradually, it kept on maturing to from writing about college to writing about my experiences with my parents and life without them. And basically, it kept on maturing that way. Soon enough, one of my basically answers on Quora about my father, it went ultra viral. Till date, it's one of the most viral posts that I've ever written. The
Great.
most viral piece of content I've ever written. And after that post, basically, Times of India reached out to me that, hey, we want to
Okay.
interview your father. There was the Better India who reached out to me कि मुझे आपके father का interview लेना है, how can we connect? And multiple such publications were reaching out to me. People were reaching out, hey, if you or your father are ever in town, let's connect. And I did not know how to tell them that he's no more. And so that is when it hit me that, okay, maybe I should, this is a great medium. My words have the power to take my father's story to the world. So I ended up basically writing a book about him that way. And
Great start.
that's how the book took another year and a half. So I was writing content every day in that journey. And during that journey, basically my Quora audience also kept on growing and growing and growing. So over the course of 4 years that I did content production on Quora, I amassed over 22,000 followers out there, over 22 million
Nice.
views out there. So this is something that I had done before at that time. And
Okay.
then thereafter, basically, real life happened. I got out of college, job happened. There
Yeah.
was no more time for me to write for 4 hours a day, to read for 5 hours a day. So it basically got parked aside. I got onto those pursuits. And basically, my interests also changed. I was no more writing about those things of life, about my personal sides of things, etc. I began to read more about economy and those things as basically because you're earning now, you also have to invest
Yeah.
things, etc. You begin to basically study those things, right?
True.
That is how basically it happened for me that my interest also changed. I was finding lesser time to write. So Quora basically got parked away.
Okay.
And then basically over the last some time, I began to basically again concentrate on this particular aspect of my life that, okay, let us bring it up again. And this time I want to do it on LinkedIn. And yeah, so on LinkedIn, now, trying to crack this thing.
So what type of content do you specialize in?
I specialize in two types of content particularly. One is when it comes to expressing myself. So, for instance, my friends and relatives basically tell me that they have not met anyone who writes such good letters.
Right.
So I would write letters which are something very unconventional and those things. So basically expressing myself when it's emotional out there, whether it be joy or anger or gratitude or whatever, I'm pretty good at kind of writings, or I'm very good at writing basically business analysis, news posts, etc. So I wrote a lot of content for a publication called Swarajya, which is basically a news publication for
I'd seen.
2.5 years. Yeah. So basically, during my first two jobs, I was also doing a side gig.
Okay.
Every morning, I would wake up at 4:30 and I would do that particular gig till 8 a.m. for Swarajya, and then I would go on with my daily job. So that during that time, I basically learned to write news posts and those things. So writing skill was already there, but I also learned to write what kind of writing goes on in the formal space of life. And that is how basically writing matured. And right now I'm doing more of that in a personal capacity to build my own brand. So it's no more
Great.
Swarajya, it's Jayant Mundhra, building it out on LinkedIn.
Great. So how do you research and plan your content before creating it?
So it's a good lot of journey that brings me out to a point that I say that, okay, this is what I'm going to write about. And for ask anyone who writes a lot, I would say that most of them will tell you that their content ideas come from what they read. And I'm someone who has been an avid reader from the college days itself. So I used to read about 6-7 hours a day back then. I was not much into academics, but when it comes to reading, I used to do a lot of that.
Okay.
And that has only stayed consistent. I think if people say na, that this person is the constant of my life, I would say that books are the constant of my life. As you can also see out there are a lot more, even the other side of the wall.
Okay.
So books are the constant of my life. I've been reading day in and day out. And even today I do that. I spend around 4 to 5 hours a day reading. And when you read so much, ideas keep on popping out that, okay, this is something that I read in that book also. Let's connect the two things and something very interesting can come out. And so ideas keep on popping out. I keep on noting them down. And as I keep on reading things, I keep on coming across new quotes or new ideas. So I keep on adding them up to basically build a post. And that's how it basically works out. That's how I get my ideas.
So to become a successful content creator, you need to read a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely, no
It's
doubt.
essential.
No doubt about that.
So what
Even,
tools
so
or
it actually depends. There are also content creators who are into other genres, like basically travel or those things.
right?
That's a different scheme of things. But in my line of work, where you're basically putting out content that has some knowledge related thing and less of experiential things, you have to read. No doubt about that. It doesn't necessarily have to be books. It could
Right.
it could be various publications. So, for instance, given I write a lot about companies and startups, etc., these days,
Okay.
on stocks basically. So, my reading is more about the morning context, the Economic Times, Business Standard, Live Mint, etc. This is what I read more of than books right now. I would read for maybe an hour and a half of books, and 3.5, 4, 5 hours of these publications. But reading is important, no doubt about that.
Is there any tools or resources do you use to create your content?
I've begun to experiment a bit with ChatGPT and those things.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
How
Bec-
helpful is this?
it's actually quite helpful in the sense that you cannot outsource things to it, because in the end your style is your style of writing, and basically your thoughts is something that the AI cannot do for you. What
True.
we can do is basically so for instance, as I told you, I keep on jotting down points on certain ideas from time to time. Now
Okay.
those are not really structured, right? Once I've jotted down all those thoughts together, there are 4 or 5 different paras, or there are 20 different paras. I copy them together, ask ChatGPT to summarize those. And
Right.
that way I get it all in a structured fashion. And then basically I can delve deeper into it, refine it further, add more points into it, and create a full-fledged post in my own style of writing.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Uh,
is how we use it.
do you think ChatGPT will replace or AI will replace human intelligence?
No, it won't. It won't. So basically, it a lot of people say that okay, ChatGPT is going to replace your job. I don't think so. People are going to lose jobs if they don't know how to use ChatGPT. But
Right.
and they will be replaced with people who know how to use ChatGPT. ChatGPT won't be replacing people, but people who know how to use ChatGPT will be replacing other people. That is how I think it's going to be, because ChatGPT, I think, based on my personal experience, um, it has surely helped me 2x my productivity, and I don't even use it to the best of manners.
Right.
People who know how to use it best can probably go for 10x, 20x productivity, and that means a lot. Imagine a person who can do the job of 10 people. It's
Right.
equivalent to that. So it's more about that. It won't really replace content creators. It won't really replace people in any one domain of things,
True.
but it will be the people who will be using ChatGPT, not just ChatGPT, but ChatGPT, maybe Microsoft's Copilot, maybe Google's Workplace, maybe Cora's Poe, or other such generative AI technologies that are coming up. Uh, we don't even know 5 years down the line which one of these will really blow out, but
Right.
whichever really sticks out there, the people who will know how to deal with these skills, they are the ones who will really conquer out there.
True. So you do have experience as a data analyst. Would you like to share your experience as a data analyst?
Yeah, so basically my first job was that as a data analyst, and my second one in the consulting space was more around business analysis. So those were two linked spaces. So a lot of people think that when it comes to data analysis, it's more about Python, SQL, R,
Right.
models around things, etc. It's not just that actually. Data analytics is a big name which has a lot of niche areas. There are people who work on the visualization side of things. So, for instance, people will be building graphs on Tableau or Power BI, etc. They'll be building various cuts out there. There'll be people who will be into data extraction, manipulation, etc.
Okay.
Who will be working on Python, Alteryx, and R, and those kind of things. There'll be people who will be working on the AI side of things or ML side of things. They'll be working on NLP and building out models, etc. There'll also be people who will be more towards the business intelligence side of things, that is BI. So every space is a different one. And my first job was more around basically data extraction, manipulation, and building out models. So those kind of things. In my second job, I got to understand, once that data is there, once you have done all those parts, how do you bring actionables out of it? Because in consulting, what you go to the businesses with is basically, okay, this is what is wrong with your business, this is what is right, and this is what you need to address, etc. And that has to come out of data. So you find out those actionables and put it in front of the business people, and those have to be the solid points. You cannot tell a Colgate guy that okay, आपका टूथपेस्ट जो है वो ज्यादा नहीं बिक रहा है. आपको उनको ये बताना है कि आपका जो टूथपेस्ट है उसका जो 500 ग्राम्स वाला पैकेज है वो राजस्थान में भिलवाड़ा में ज्यादा बिकता है लेकिन जयपुर में नहीं बिकता है. सो प्रोबेबली इन भिलवाड़ा डोंट गो and promote the bigger SKUs, bigger products. Go for smaller products. While within Jaipur, you can go and product bigger products as well. So
Right.
those are the kind of insights that you have to take out and give to them. So that is a very different area of things. And yeah, so when it comes to data analytics, that has been my experience that okay, don't stick to one scheme of thing because you will be replaceable.
Right.
Stick to multiple areas and eventually always mature towards actionables because that is one area where no one can really replace you that easily. Once you are able to tell a business that okay, हाँ फलाने ने ये एनालिसिस कर दिया, डेटा निकाल के दे दिया, बट उससे क्या करना वो मैं तुम्हें बता रहा हूँ. देन आई एम द वन हु मैटर्स. जिसने डेटा निकाला उसको तो रिप्लेस कर सकते हैं ना.
Right.
जो बंदा उस डेटा से निकाल के ये आपको बता रहा है that okay, this is what really matters. I'm solving your time issues. You don't have to delve deep into it. Here are the things that you need to do. Just get to action. That is the guy who matters. So always focus on maturing towards that. It doesn't matter where you start your data analytics journey, but always why to get to the place where you bring out the actionables to the business. That is what really matters.
Yeah. What was the reason you switched your career?
So the switch was already actually in the plans. When I was in college itself, I was pretty certain that
Okay.
I want to build my career in the startup space, probably eventually as an entrepreneur myself.
Okay.
But I wasn't really sure which space I would want to go into. And I was not a techie. And when you're not a techie, and as long as you are not a techie, you have to be very sure about what kind of space you're getting into. A mistake that a lot of college students basically make is कि जिस भी कंपनी से अच्छा पैकेज मिल रहा है, they are going to take it.
Right.
People don't realize that your career is a long-term bet,
Right.
not a paycheck for the initial year itself.
Right.
For that, you have to be very sure where you want to go. Because had I have started my career in fintech space, I would not have easily found it good to pivot to healthcare, for instance, or edtech, like I did eventually. Because as a generalist, my profile gets built around that. So that is the reason I decided at the time when I was in college that I'm not really sure where I want to go. So let us not hush things and go into analytics and consulting, which will eventually help me get into any of those spaces. So I went there. I spent the initial 2 years of my career studying about various sectors. I zeroed down on 4 eventually. When I was ready, that okay, these are one of the 4 sectors where I would want to join a seed stage or an early stage or a growing startup, not a mature one like Zomato, Flipkart, etc. That is when I basically decided that okay, now is the time to finally go for it. And I finally went for that. But it was basically already a planned thing that okay, eventually it's going to be in the startup space only. But I just have to be sure which space to go for.
Right. If any student would like to be a content creator, is there any specific education background required?
No, none at all. So it's all about basically. So for instance, I don't come from a business background, neither in family nor in terms of what I got educated in. By education qualifications, I'm in my degree says I'm an engineer. I don't.
Okay.
And then basically it also says that I'm an MBA. I don't, because I know how good my college MBA program was, but I know how good I was at reading. I was reading a lot about economics and public policy. I was reading a lot about businesses. When you're reading 4 or 5 hours a day of Economic Times Livemint and Business Standard, you get really good about understanding what differentiates one business from another, what really goes into making a business, and what really brings out profits, what are cash flows, what are margins, what are net margins, what are gross margins, what is difference between all of those kind of things. You begin to gain a grasp on that. And that is how my learning happened. And today I'm writing about those things. I don't hold experience in those domains. I don't hold any expertise out there. It's just out of experience that I have built by studying those things that I'm there. So it's not about particular skill set that you have by degree or any merit out there. If you put significant time into something, it comes out.
Right. If anyone would like to pursue this as a freelance thing, so how they can, get clients or approach people?
So I would say that to start as a freelancer is an easy thing because companies out there, especially in the early stage, they always want to outsource things to freelancers. and they always want to optimize the cost, and freelancers are always cost friendly, because say a company basically needs to get certain app built. To hire a guy for on their payrolls is always going to be costlier than basically outsourcing the task to a freelance developer. So it always works, no doubt about that. But it's a long journey unless you have a brand built around yourself.
Okay.
So for instance, given I now have a good, decent enough LinkedIn brand, a lot of freelance opportunities keep on coming my way, automatically inbound. Otherwise, the count would be low and the pay offered would also be low, because I would have to, I don't have any credentials to show that, okay, I'm very good at it, so I get to command a premium for my services. So you grow very slowly, and it won't be enough in the early days to basically say that, okay, I'm only going to be freelancing. It would only work for maybe 2 out of 100 people.
True.
If you have a personal brand, it would probably work for 80 out of 100 people. So that is the big difference.
Would you like to talk about something about LinkedIn branding a bit, some suggestions that might be helpful?
Yeah, so LinkedIn branding is basically pretty simple. So it's not really that simple, because when I started off, I didn't know these things. But by putting posts for every single day and observing what's really happening out there, how LinkedIn algo is basically working out for me, I would say that it's pretty simple a platform. You have to be very consistent at it. That, okay, you're going to post something every day, or every 3 days, or every 1 week. You have to decide what your consistency is going to be, what your frequency of posting is going to be, but you have to be very sticky about it, that, okay, if I decided it's going to be 3 days, 8 posts, then you have to stick to that. One is consistency matters. The other is you have to stick to a niche. It should not be that, okay, today I'm going to write about my life. Tomorrow I'm going to be writing about a rant post on how basically my Swiggy order got cancelled. And the third day I'm going to basically write about my relationship. The fourth day I will write about why basically data analytics matters, and why basically people should be paying me to teach them about how to work on Tableau. Cannot be that, because people won't be able to relate to you. People want to see credibility. When they see a person writing in a niche area, a very particular area, on a consistent fashion every day, and if they see value in that content, that, okay, this guy knows something about it, because no one else is talking about this thing, it begins to make sense. I'll give you an example. So Zomato is a public company. Zomato has a division called Blinkit. Blinkit has 4 or 5 different metrics that Zomato always reports. That, okay, the gross order value is going up, and number of transacting users is going up, etc. Everything looks hunky and dory. But it takes an intelligent mind to take all of that, do some division multiplication to see that an average Blinkit user places just 3 orders a quarter, 2 quarters back. He does the same even today. There is no real growth happening out there. The revenue growth, gross order value growth is coming out of basically new users coming in onto the platform. And to attract them, there is more and more marketing spends happening. So that's not a good thing. That is something on which, if one does that much analysis, writes a post around it, and puts it up on LinkedIn, people are going to be getting amazed, right? That, okay, ye to hame pata hi nahi tha. And this guy somehow found it, and he's writing this kind of content. That creates curiosity that, okay, this guy must know how to do these things. Let's follow this guy. And that is how you build your brand identity. That is how you build your credibility, that, okay, this guy, he knows a lot about how to dissect businesses and find out red flags and positives. So that is what has worked for me. And that is how it always works. You have to find a niche and always deliver some value that others are not aware of. And that is what basically puts a rocket onto your growth.
Consistency is the key, but is there any tricks and tips so that might be helpful to, easily brand your LinkedIn?
I won't say that, basically make it easy for you to put up a brand, have a good profile. And if you're working on any projects or with anyone, say most of the people out here may be in colleges, right? They would have worked out with basically their professors and other guys, or maybe they would have interned somewhere. Get those people to write testimonials for you. Those add merit to your profile. It shows that a person is showing efforts in basically building it out there. One should know basically how to use LinkedIn in terms of basically how to reach out to people. So for example, 99% of the connection requests that come to me from college students is like some college student from say Jivaji University in Gwalior who would just send me a request for no reason at all. I don't know why. I don't know the guy. Why should I really be accepting that?
Yeah.
And it has to be that there should be a brief note that, okay, I followed this work and really interesting. I want to read more about this thing
Okay.
and to learn from you. So I want to connect or whatever it is. Or are there any opportunities in this space that you could keep on guiding me about?
Right.
It has to be something that you have to mention some context. People
True.
need to know about how to use those things. Because if someone is reaching out to me and I also do the same things, right? I reach out to startup founders. I reach out to CEOs out there.
Okay.
If imagine if I'm just doing it, there is a CEO of, say, for example, Carrot Lean or maybe Titan.
Yeah.
Big thousands of crores worth companies.
Mhm.
You think that the CEO is going to entertain कि हाँ Jayant Mundhra ने मुझे connection request भेजा, let us see it.
True.
He won't give a damn.
Yeah.
He would consider it if I would have put up a note that, okay, followed your results of this quarter, financial results, had certain doubts about these things, but really impressive growth, would love to stay connected and learn from your experiences.
Okay.
That completely, basically, अगर किसी के 100 requests गए हैं ना, this one would stand out.
True.
So that is something how you basically build connections out there. And when you're building connections, just don't go into the game of कि जो भी आ रहा है, अगर IIT बॉम्बे से आ गया तो accept कर लो, IIT दिल्ली से आ रहा है accept कर लो, IIM अहमदाबाद से accept कर लो.
Okay.
That because those are basically dead connections. Always make connections so that either they value you or you value them. It should be a two-way street. Otherwise, it won't ever be of value. It would just show कि हमारे पास 5,000 connection है. So those are some basic hygiene things to take care of. Apart from that, it's basically your own content game. What kind of content you put out or what comments you put out on others' posts, it really makes a difference. So a lot of college students make a really big mistake that if anyone from a fancy startup or a fancy company puts up a post and says कि मैं ये चीज कर रहा हूँ, share करने में ready हूँ, if interested, then put it in the comments. And they begin to put it interested in
Yes.
their email IDs. It doesn't really work out that way.
Right.
That guy is actually using you.
Yeah.
He probably has some certain business idea to it or certain other idea जिसके लिए उसको चाहिए कि मैं अपनी email list बनाऊं. वो ऐसे tool आपको देता है gimmick की तरह. You get excited, you put out their email ID and वो ऐसे 2000 email IDs की list बनाता है. जब वो अपना product लाता है, सबको फिर use करता है email list की तरह से.
Right.
People don't realize it. आपको उन पोस्ट पे नहीं जाना, आपको जाना है उन पोस्ट पे जहां पे वो लोग हैं जिनके तब आगे कल को काम करना चाहो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मैं अपना एग्जाम्पल लेता हूँ. आई वुड वांट टू वर्क विद बिग इन्वेस्टर्स एंड दोस गाइस. मैं उनको फॉलो करूंगा. तो अगर पोस्ट अगर लिख रहे हैं कि ठीक है, एक स्टार्टअप फाउंडर बनने के लिए ये की एलिमेंट्स होते हैं, मैं उस वाले पोस्ट पे कमेंट करूंगा अपने क्वेश्चंस, अपने डाउट्स या ऑब्जर्वेशंस. क्या ऑल्सो सॉ कि यार इस पर्टिकुलर स्टार्टअप का जो फाउंडर है बहुत सक्सेसफुल है, बट वो ये चीज नहीं करता, सो कुछ और करता है. सो वहां पे डिस्कोर्स शुरू होता है. उस बंदे की नजर में भी आता है जो कि इतने बड़े वीसी फंड का मालिक है कि हाँ यार, एक जयंत नाम से लड़का है, उसने बहुत बढ़िया पॉइंट रेज किया था कि उस वाले स्टार्टअप का फाउंडर ना वो कुछ अलग कर रहा है, हमारी जो चीजें उससे अलग है. सो वहां पे जाके आपके कनेक्शंस आपके बिल्ड होते हैं, एक आपकी एक आइडेंटिटी बनती है. कहीं पे इंटरेस्टेड लिखने से आपकी आइडेंटिटी नहीं बन रही है. अगर आइडेंटिटी नहीं बन रही तो लिंक्डइन पे आपको उसका कुछ काम नहीं है, उसका कोई यूज नहीं निकलेगा. सो ऑलवेज गो फॉर बिल्डिंग योर ओन आइडेंटिटी एंड ऑलवेज प्लेस योर थॉट्स एंड डोंट जस्ट सी इट कि जो भी आ रहा है हाथ में उससे वाली कनेक्शन बनाए. जहाँ पे मतलब कुछ वैल्यू बन सकती है या फिर आप वैल्यू दे सकते हो, उधर ही वैल्यू बनाओ. किसी से भी आपको कनेक्शन अगर आपको बनाना है तो वहां पे आप मेंशन हमेशा करो कि मैं क्यों तुम्हें कनेक्शन रिक्वेस्ट भेज रहा हूँ या क्यों तुमसे कनेक्ट करना चाहता हूँ. अगर आप किसी को मैसेज कर रहे हो, इवन सो एटलीस्ट 50% ऑफ मैसेजेस दैट कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स सेंड मी इज बेसिकली हाय, हेलो.
That doesn't work.
या आप मुझे सीधा लिख रहे हो हाउ आर यू, मैं आपको क्यों रिप्लाई करूँ?
True.
राइट. टेल मी समथिंग ना कि आप क्यों मुझे मैसेज कर रहे हो.
Yes.
एंड सडनली आई एम मोर इंटरेस्टेड दैट ओके ये बंदा इसलिए मेरे को मैसेज कर रहा है. आप मुझे हाउ आर यू भेज रहे हो, मैं आपको बोल दूंगा आई एम फाइन, हाउ आर यू, आई एम. उसके बाद क्या, मुझे जब तक विजिबिलिटी नहीं है कि ये कन्वर्सेशन कहाँ जा रहा है, मैं वहां अपना टाइम क्यों इन्वेस्ट करूंगा. बिकॉज a lot of time what happens is college students don't realize is that people out there who are really working it out, they don't have really much of time. They are like, अगर वो शहरों में रह रहे हैं, they are traveling an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours a day and to their from their home to office, from the office back to home, and then ऑफिस में दिन भर वो काम कर रहे हैं, कभी किसी की सुन भी रहे हैं, कभी किसी को सुना भी रहे हैं, टारगेट्स का प्रेशर है एक्सेट्रा. फिर घर आ रहे हैं तो घर वाले बोल रहे हैं कि ऐसा कौन सा ऑफिस है तुम्हारे बिना नहीं चलता है, गिविंग टाइम टू अस. दे आर, and amidst all of that are they supposed to entertain someone who is dropping them a message, hi, how are you? अब मैं उसे क्या बताऊं, how am I? Right? On the other hand, if someone tells me that, hi sir, how are you? Really interested in working along with you for an internship opportunity to learn about this particular area. I saw that in one of your posts that you are working with Swiggy on this thing. Would love to collaborate. Would love to contribute or learn from you. It suddenly begins to make sense that, okay, this is someone who I should connect with.
Right.
That is how you should be using LinkedIn to your own benefit.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. We do have a question. I am starting out as an Insta YouTube content creator, posting my gaming clips. Can you give some tips for me to grow and reach mass audience?
So I personally am neither an Insta or YouTube content creator,
Yes.
but I am lucky enough. So basically, when I was working at Classplus, these creators, especially on YouTube, these creators are basically people who we basically deal with at Classplus. These are our customers. So that's how I got to connect with a lot of them.
Okay.
And I got to learn a lot from them. And I can tell you one thing, the one thing that has always worked out for them is consistency.
Okay.
It's always about consistency on any platform. Then you basically stick to your niche and keep on putting up content. So for instance, this guy, Anuj, right? So Anuj is basically into putting gaming clips. Do it every day. You do not know what one post is going to go viral. So a lot of people think that, okay, it's an exponential curve. It will not grow, not grow, not grow. Suddenly it will begin to grow and then it will grow like this. It doesn't really happen that way. So I began to personally post content on LinkedIn on 21st of December this year, 2022. It's been it's day 95 right now for me. It's been like this. It would go up suddenly and then drop. Then again for 12 days, nothing happens. Then one more post will go viral. Then eventually one more will go viral. But overall, it will keep on growing in the upward direction that way. बट वो एक्चुअल जर्नी ऐसे जाती है आपकी, ऊपर नीचे होते रहती है. एंड वो जब नीचे जाता है ना, यू हैव टू स्टे कंसिस्टेंट इवन एट दैट टाइम. 12 दिन तक आपका पोस्ट चलेगा नहीं, उस पर रिएक्शंस आएंगे नहीं, एंड पीपल गिव अप एट दैट टाइम. और वहां पे जाकर के ये डिसाइड होता है कि ओके, कोई बंदा है जो कि रियली ग्रो नहीं करने वाला है एंड जो कंसिस्टेंट है, उसका एक और पोस्ट आगे कभी ना कभी तो वायरल, कि वो कंसिस्टेंट है एंड उसका वायरल होगा तो वो हिट हो जाएगा. पर भुवन बाम, ही हैड पुट आउट अराउंड 40 वीडियोस एंड कुछ नहीं हुआ था. वो मजे में डाल रहा था, एक वीडियो उसका वायरल हुआ. अब सोचो, 41st वीडियो उसका वायरल हुआ, वो 21st के बाद उसने बोला था छोड़ो इसको, छोड़ते हैं. भुवन बाम कुछ होता ही नहीं, बीबी की वाइन्स कभी होता ही नहीं. इट वुड नॉट बी हैव बीन अ ब्रांड जो कि आज के दिन एक एक ब्रांड डील्स के 7-8 करोड़ रुपए ले रहा है. वो कोई बनता ही नहीं ना. बट इट इज बिकॉज उसकी 20वीं वीडियो के बाद वो 21वीं भी डाली, 22वीं भी डाली, एंड सडनली वो ग्रो करते हुए 41 तक पहुंचा, 41 वाली वायरल हुई, एंड देन थिंग्स चेंज्ड. सो यू हैव टू कीप एट इट एंड इट चेंजेस. So either be it Instagram, YouTube, or any platform, that is the game about. I don't personally do Instagram and YouTube right now, but you can ask any other content creator who does that. They will give you this answer. I can bet on that.
He's asking, like, wouldn't it look like I'm spamming if I post consistently?
So वही तो बात है ना कि you have to be very shameless about it. For example, अभी इस सेशन के पहले जो मेरी बात हो रही थी पनीशा से, कि बेसिकली सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज क्या होता है, इट्स नॉट कि आपको कंसिस्टेंट रहना है, इट्स अबाउट लोग क्या कहेंगे, घर वाले क्या कहेंगे, एंड रिश्तेदार घर वालों को क्या कहेंगे, ये कर क्या रहे, ये फालतू में ऐसे ये सब चीजें क्यों डाल रहे, इससे पैसा बनता है क्या, ये सवाल आएंगे आपके पास. एंड उसके बावजूद अगर आप वो डालते रहते हो, वही तो चैलेंज है. आप यू हैव टू बी वेरी शेमलेस अबाउट इट, दैट ओके, यू हैव a lot of confidence and conviction that I'm doing something for a reason.
Right.
I have very confidence in this thing that if I keep on doing it, something very good is going to happen. I know that, okay, if I do like this, Tanmay but also grew this way only, I will also grow.
Right.
But just because I am ashamed कि यार 20 वीडियो हो गए, कुछ चल नहीं रहा, लोगों को लग रहा होगा ये रोज ऐसे कुछ भी डाल के चले जाता है, it would never work.
Right.
For the initial 15 days, the post that I had put up on LinkedIn, those got around 2 to 5 likes. That was practically what basically people can call spamming, right? कि लोग नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं, वो 2 से 5 लाइक्स आ रहे हैं, जिसमें एक मेरी वाइफ लाइक कर रही है, एक मेरी मदर कर रही है.
Right.
So 2 लोग और कर रहे हैं, वो 2 लोगों का मैं शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, उन्होंने कम से कम किया. बट द पॉइंट इज, कोई मेरिट नहीं था ना वो करने का. दैट वाज प्रैक्टिकली स्पैमिंग ओनली. मैं जाके कुछ भी डाल रहा हूँ, कोई पढ़ नहीं रहा है, आगे बढ़ रहा है. देन सडनली इट बिकेम 10. सडनली इट बिकेम कि पहले आधे घंटे में मेरे पोस्ट पे 20 लाइक आने लग गए. सडनली उस पर वो नंबर बढ़ने लग गया. And now it's a usual thing for my post to do between 100 to 1000 likes on LinkedIn. Some of the posts have gone on to do 3000 likes, for example. वो तो सोच ही नहीं सकता था मैं. And all of this has happened in this course only. So point is, one has to be shameless about it.
Right.
And shameless हुए बिना तो काम नहीं होगा.
And criticism
बहुत
could be
lucky.
positively लेना is very important.
Oh, absolutely. So basically, even if you don't take it positively, one should know that you don't have to be reactive about it.
Right.
A lot of times what happens is, आपको कोई आपने piece of content डाला, लोग आपको आके क्वेश्चन करते हैं, क्रॉस क्वेश्चन करते हैं, एंड आपके आंसर उन्हें पसंद नहीं आते, वो आपको क्रिटिक भी करेंगे.
Right.
हो सकता है वो अब्यूजिव भी हो जाए, हो सकता है आपको बोले तुम्हें कुछ पता नहीं, तुम क्यों कर रहे हो.
Right.
All of those times you have to say thank you and end it out there. There is no merit in debating with people on the internet.
True.
आपको ये चीज बहुत जरूरी है समझना, दैट आप मेहनत करके कुछ बना रहे हो, सामने वाला खाली कमेंट कर रहा है.
Right.
सामने वाले की वही लेवल है, अगर वो आपको कमेंट पे आपको नीचा दिखा सकता है तो
Right.
दैट इज द मैक्स. एंड आई लव अ कोट फ्रॉम जेम्स अल्टुचर बेसिकली, दैट अगर कोई पिग है जो कि आपके ऊपर कीचड़ उछाल रहा है, पिग
Yes.
को तो मजा आएगा ना, वो तो कीचड़ में ही रहता है.
Right.
आप कीचड़ में उछलोगे उल्टा, आप गंदे ही हो रहे हो, उसको और मजा आ रहा है, आप गंदे हो रहे हो, आपको पूरा घाटा ही है. सो नेवर इंडल्ज इन रिएक्टिव आर्ग्यूमेंट्स when someone critiques your work in comments or in messages or in public anyhow. Just say okay, maybe we disagree, thank you so much for the taking time out to basically at least share your opinion with me, I'll think about it. And you always move ahead. And if it is something constructive or polite, always admire those people, because someone is taking time to be sharing a genuine suggestion with you, that okay, you could probably try this thing and it would work out.
Right.
That way. But always take things as a positive, polite manner. Never be reactive about it. Always be responsive about it.
Right. We do have one more question. What trends do you see in the content creation industry?
Yeah. So, Bhavtosh ne question पूछा, I guess. Bhavtosh, yeah, you have to be a bit precise. What industry are you talking about? Because content creation is a massive industry. When there are people like Bhuvan Bam, Shreya Kapoor, and Sharon Hegde, everyone is in a different industry of their own, but all of them are content creators. So take me, for example. I am a LinkedIn content creator who writes things. There is Shreya Kapoor who creates videos, and she is also a content creator. And every industry has a different trend out there. One thing that I can tell you is that for sure, the world tomorrow is going to be more about content creators, less about the traditional media of things. So for example, अनुभव बस्सी, who is a stand-up comedian, उन्होंने अपना एक वीडियो डाला, अगले एक हफ्ते तक यूट्यूब पे नंबर 1 पे वो पूरे इंडिया में ट्रेंड करता है. That he is a content creator.
Yeah.
That is the power of content creation, which अगर एबीपी न्यूज अगर अपना कोई वीडियो डालता है कि हमने इंटरव्यू लिया नितिन गडकरी जी का, उस पर उतने व्यूज नहीं आते, वो ट्रेंड नहीं करता, लेकिन अनुभव बस्सी का वीडियो ट्रेंड करता है. भुवन बाम का ओटीटी पे शो आता है हॉटस्टार पे, एंड इट स्टेज देयर नंबर 1 शो फॉर 30 days in a row. उसी चैनल पे हॉटस्टार पे रुद्रा नाम से अजय देवगन का भी शो आया था. इट डिड नॉट ट्रेंड, बट भुवन बाम का शो ट्रेंड करता है. अजय देवगन बहुत बड़ी हस्ती है, बट भुवन बाम उसको भी मतलब बीट कर रहा है. ही इज अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर आउट देयर. सो दीज कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स जो कि पर्सनल हार्डवर्क से ग्रो करके उस लेवल पे पहुंच रहे हैं ना, उनकी जर्नी हम सब देख पा रहे हैं, तो हमारा उनसे बॉन्ड बनता है. वी बिगिन टू नॉट जस्ट ट्रस्ट देम, वी बिगिन टू एडमायर देम फॉर दैट. उनमें सपने नजर आते हैं कि यार अगर ये बंदा कुछ नहीं से यहाँ पहुंच सकता, मैं भी कर सकता हूँ, तो मैं उसका और ज्यादा एफिनिटी देखता हूँ. तो जब उसका कोई कंटेंट आता है ना, वो कुछ अनाउंसमेंट करता है, उसकी लाइफ में कुछ अच्छा होता है, मैं खुश होता हूँ. जब मुझे दिखता है ना कि यार कि भुवन बाम ने इतने स्ट्रगल के बाद भी ये कर लिया. अगर आप देखोगे भुवन बीबी की वाइन्स की पहले की जो वीडियोस होती थी, जिस घर का जिस रूम का सेटिंग होता था, यू सी दैट वो पर्सन कितने हम्बल बैकग्राउंड से आ रहा है. सच अ बिग थिंग कि उसने अपने घर वालों के लिए इतना बड़ा घर भी लिया, सारे उन्हें हर तरह की लग्जरी दी है, एंड इट ऑल हैपेंड इन अ मैटर ऑफ 6 years और समथिंग. सो वो आपको सपने दिखते हैं एंड फिर आप उस पर बिलीव करते हो. दैट इज द पावर ऑफ कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स टुडे, एंड इट इज ओनली गोइंग टू गो मोर एंड मोर पावरफुल. सो आई बिलीव दैट इट्स गोइंग टू बी समथिंग वेरी वेरी बिग, एंड दैट इज द ब्रॉडर ट्रेंड. अब अगर किसी निश के बारे में पूछो कि फाइनेंशियल कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स का क्या सीन है, या फिर ट्रैवल वाले साइड में क्या सीन है, तो इट कैन बी वेरी डिफरेंट आंसर्स.
If anyone do have any other questions, they can use the raise hand option as well. Thank you, Anuj. I think we don't have any more questions.
Sure.
Everyone got their answers. Thank you so much for joining us and share your insights with us. That might be helpful for the college students who are watching our show. And wish you all the best for your future.
Thank you so much. And it's been lovely talking to you, Panisha, as well as Anuj, Bhavtosh, and other guys who basically asked the questions. Thank you so much. And I really hope that whatever I shared, it adds some value to your perspective and helps you out in some manner. Just hoping that. And if any help is needed, any guidance is needed, just feel free to reach out to me over my LinkedIn.
Sure.
Always there. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.